So I'm going to try and film my first vlog today. Have a wedding to do. I don't have eyelashes on, that's why I look half dead. 3-tier wedding cake. So I'm just going to show you how I put the stuff in the car, travel with it, stack it, and all the stuff that happens kind of behind the scenes at the venue. Fingers crossed nothing goes wrong. Okay, so I didn't go into too much detail on this, but this is the drum that the cake will sit on. So unlike normal cakes, I will actually drill a hole for the dowel to sit in and then build the cake around this dowel. So I just wanted to do a quick run through of my travel toolkit. I'll show you it all closed. So I take this to every kind of setup that I go to. It's literally just a little toolkit. Okay, so what is in here is baby wipes. I bring baby wipes for hands and stuff, but also because sometimes the table that they give you is dirty, so I just bring it just in case to avoid bothering people. The customer's cake topper is in here. I have different types of dowels, the straw dowels and the plastic hard dowels, just in case. I shouldn't need them, but if I do, then, you know, have them. Spatula, full size, for any like kneading up, just in case there's any damage during the stacking process. Ooh. An offset spatula for applying buttercream between layers when I'm stacking. I have leveled off all of my cakes already, so they're already straight, but when you stack, sometimes, depending on how you cut the straws, you might need it anyway, just in case. Scissors to cut the straws. Also, I'm going to be doing flowers on this cake, so I'm going to be cutting the flowers when I get there, and then making them food safe by, can you see that? That's really out of focus. There we go. By wrapping them in food safe for a while, which has got a little bit of gold dust on it. She wants gold leaf on her cake, so I'm bringing the gold leaf with me. What else have I got? A knife, just in case. Some more spatulas. So my two favourite spatulas actually when stacking cakes at venues are these two. So it's this one, which is really small, but it's really good for actually just getting rid of the line between the tiers. And then this one, if you ever like accidentally nick the cake, or I don't know, you put a flower in and you want to put it somewhere else, to cover up that patch without making it look obvious, I'd use one of these like flexi scrapers. I'm not sure what brand this is. I also know that it doesn't matter. So as long as it's this kind of, and to be honest, you can probably use a piece of acetate. But yeah, these are really good for just like neatening up any mistakes. So there's that. And that's pretty much it. Am I going to put anything else in here? No, I think that's everything, to be honest. Before I go, I am just quickly doweling the base, just to save myself time when I get to the venue. How I dowel is I use these thick white dowels, and I put it in the cake. I wiggle it around a little bit so it picks up some buttercream, so I know where to cut it, and I use these blades to do that. So I have doweled the base tier before travelling, just to save myself some time. I did have them kind of equally spaced, but then I thought I'd add one more long one in, one more dowel in. I used these white dowel straws for this, just because I think they're stronger. And how I cut them is using this little tool. I have no idea what it's called, but I will link it below. Yeah, so that's basically the base tier completely doweled so that I can stack the next tier, next two tiers when I get there. So the cakes are boxed up, ready to go. I package all my cakes in box secure boxes. They're like hard corrugated cards, so there's nothing that's going to happen to these during transit. So this is on the baseboard. This board is going to stay. This is coming off this, so the silver board doesn't matter. And then this is also coming off this. Because I'm traveling, even though I know the cake isn't going to stay on the board, I still use a drum because it kind of absorbs some of the impact when you're driving. So even if you're not going to use the drum when you stack the cake, it's always better to use a drum whilst traveling. Just when you're going over the bumps, it kind of absorbs some of the impact and just assists in, you know, less damage happening. Okay, so I totally forgot to show you guys how I put the cakes in the car, but they're all in there separately. And then we had an hour and a half roughly to drive to the venue. Okay, so we are here. It's super sunny. And I now have lashes on. I have just been told that I do not have access to the fridge like I asked for and like I needed to. So I now have a 3-tier cake to stack that's been in the car in the English heat, for over an hour. So I'm just gonna see how this turns out. Because it's semi-naked, it should be okay. And I bought my spatulas, extra buttercream, and other stuff, and the flowers are going on it. So if it does get a little bit damaged when I'm stacking it because it's not cold, I should be able to cover it. So let's just see if I can still stack this cake warm. Okay, so I'm outside and I am now allowed to use the fridge. I did explain to the lady that I don't usually take on cake orders, wedding cake orders, unless I'm allowed to use the fridge because it just makes my job impossible. I use Swiss meringue buttercream, which sets hard in the fridge or the freezer, but once it comes to room temperature, it stands fine. But if you're trying to move it, like add additional tiers, like it's gonna be a mess. So yeah, if I have a bride and the venue won't let me use the fridge, I just won't take the order on. I have had this issue in the past. I'm really not sure why venues are like this, because me personally, I've got, you know, public liability insurance and a 5-star food hygiene rating, so there's nothing really to say that I can't go in the kitchen. I don't know why they just can't ask for your documents and then just, you know, crack on, but venues just make it really difficult. But luckily this lady's really nice, and so she's let me put the cakes in the fridge for a bit and just said, like, dodge the head chef. So that's what we're doing. Okay. Oh, thank you. One thing with these really big venues is the kitchen is always so far away from the entrance. I did this in 2 trips, although both cakes were equally as heavy. One day I will actually figure out how heavy these cakes are, because I feel like it looks easy when you're carrying it, but I'm actually just trying actively not to trip, fall, or drop anything. So yeah, probably only about 10 minutes now to wait. Yeah, and then I'll be adding flowers, which the florist has left on the cake table. So yeah, that should be good. I can't wait to see those actually. I have no idea what those flowers look like. But yeah. Oh, so sunny. What the hell is this? Where are the rest of the flowers? Is this a joke? Okay. Okay, so I've got to this very beautiful box. Whatever this is completely wilted, and these are the flowers that I'm supposed to put on the cake, which is essentially a corsage for a 3-tier cake. I have no idea what I'm going to do. This looks like a bit of a joke, if I'm honest. I have asked reception to see if they can find like a table setting or something so I can steal flowers, because the 3-tier cake in this is just going to look absolutely ridiculous. So fingers crossed. Yay. What the hell? I'm really hoping that there's something hidden, but there's nothing hidden. Why would you even put this in a box? This is a corsage, is it not? Like, oh wait, is that where a corsage goes? Is it on your wrist? This is a thing that goes on your wrist. Cut. Okay, so once the cakes have firmed up a bit, I took them out of the fridge to stack. This is the cake table that they gave me, which was in between kind of like 2 staircases, which was really, really cute, but also like in the middle of the venue. So a lot of the guests were actually watching me do this, which is a lot of pressure, but I'm kind of used to it by now.
started. The wedding planner has stolen some flowers from another event that's happening, so I'm just going to use theirs, and luckily they match. So yeah, now I can finally stack the cake and leave. Okay, so as much as semi-naked cakes may look easy, I think they're actually one of the most difficult cakes to do, just because you can literally see anything and there's not really anywhere to hide necessarily. I clearly struggled with this cake. In hindsight, I don't remember whether I actually created holes in the cake that would have made this easier to guide, but in the future I will make sure I do that. Also, didn't talk about this much, but my mass was off by about 2 inches, which is why the dowel can be seen at the top of this cake. Now, I have a thing that if it's actually not a problem, just move on. So like, I knew that the flowers were gonna cover this part of the stick. So there was literally no point like causing a scene about it. Or, I mean, I did try to remove it with scissors and it wasn't going anywhere. Had it been like a plain top, then I would have found something to take it off, but it honestly made no difference to the look that I was going for, so I just left it there. And for those of you who thought I was being dramatic, this is what the cake would have looked like without all the additional flowers. Like, it was never going to cut it, but I'm so happy that the wedding organizer found some spare flowers that happened to match so that I could actually decorate the cake more like what I had in mind. One of the weirdest things about setting up cakes at the venue is the fact that I can't use my turntable because I wouldn't be able to lift it off, so a lot of the time I'm like walking around the cake like a crazy person, which is very awkward, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. And here you can see what I meant about the dowel not really causing a problem. I think it actually might have helped in the end, to be honest. Just create some height. As you can see, I am really particular about where I put my flowers. I kind of just have a shape in my head and keep going until it kind of looks like what I wanted it to look like when I imagined it. I'm gonna add gold leaf. There is no right way to do this. I prefer to just one or two. Use the paper rather than a paintbrush. I just prefer the effect. So expose it and be really slow, because if you're too quick it will fly away. Where do I want to start? And then just use the paper to flatten it. If you use your fingers directly on it, you're going to get fingerprints in the gold leaf. Oops. Just like that. So a little faff as to where the topper should go, and I decided on the top tier just to the side of the flowers. We're done. I'm trying to get the cake in. Hello, I'm home. It's been a very long day, which is normal for weddings because they just take such a long time. Sometimes just to get to set up and to get back is just tiring. I think we left the house around, I started packing from the night before and this morning. When I say packing, I mean things like the toolbox that I showed you guys, just making sure the boxes are built, the ones I need, because I travel with separate cakes. Obviously I need the boxes for the right cake, etc. Making sure you've got toppers, gold leaf, all your tools, that kind of stuff. yeah, so it's just a bit tiring. But yeah, we left at about 1:30, got there around 10 to 3. Took about 2 hours, 2 and a bit hours to set up, which actually is quite quick for weddings. My last wedding took me 4 hours to set up, but again, that was a 5-tier versus a 3-tier, and it was like elaborate versus a semi-naked cake, so yeah. But on average, I do just spend all day out of the house when I do have a wedding cake. So I think that is something to kind of keep in mind when you're buying a wedding cake for yourself. Like, it's not just, when it comes to pricing, you're not just paying for the cake. Like, you can't just compare a wedding cake to a celebration cake, because there's so much more that goes into it, even from the like planning and design stages. And with me, I know that when I have a wedding, I don't do anything else on that day. So once my brides, I say brides because it's usually the bride that books, once my brides have booked in their cake, I automatically block out the day for anyone else, because you just don't want to risk something happening. So for example, today, imagine if I would have just sent the cake with a driver and they would have got to the venue and the flowers weren't there or something had cracked and they're not capable of fixing it, or you just don't want to risk it. So yeah, you basically pay for your baker to be on hand and actually fix any problems that come up, and it's like the day is exclusively yours. So that's one of the things that go into making wedding cakes a little bit more expensive than standard cakes. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say really. I think it looks nice. I really don't know how to end a vlog, so yeah, bye.